Ethereum. Right now, whales are opening multi-million-dollar long trades on ETH. What do they know that we don't? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain that I'm going to be opening a very similar ETH trade. Maybe not multi-millions, but definitely one that I think is going to see some good returns. I'm going to tell you exactly why ETH is heavily undervalued right now and is perhaps one of the best trades available across crypto. So, if that sounds good, hit the like button. Let's get into today's video. Welcome to the School of Crypto. Unlike my main channel, the House of Crypto, the School of Crypto is more focused around trading different altcoins and Bitcoin. On this channel, we're going to be talking a lot more about how to find good setups in crypto, about how to take profits, how to set your stop losses and manage your risk, etc., so that you can have a profitable bull market ahead. Therefore, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell turned on. Keep up to date with all the posts I make on this channel. Now, guys, I referred to this in yesterday's video, but I think it's important to keep this in the back of our mind right now. Now, as you can see, this is the Bitcoin price versus the global M2 money supply with a 77-day delay. And as you can see, right now, the global M2 is ticking towards the upside, and that is indicating to us that Bitcoin is likely to follow suit. And let me just prove to you that this indicator is incredibly accurate. As you can see, Bitcoin topped out back around the 17th of December last year. And as you can see, this is because the global M2 started to crash towards the downside. It even predicts this peak here, the second one that we see on this chart, before closing and going lower and lower. Right now, we're seeing it pick up towards the upside because of this. If you go back through time and you backtest it, you can see that a lot of the sideways action, various pumps and dumps that you've seen across crypto can be closely linked to what we've seen on the global M2 money supply. So that tells us that we're in a pretty good place, and it's time to probably start looking into opening some long trades. We've already seen certain whales out there opening massive trades on ETH, and that's opened my eyes to something. Over the last year or so, Ethereum has kind of been underperforming other crypto coins, and that means there's good opportunity there, because when people are not interested in particular crypto coins, it tends to be where the best opportunities lie. And as we can see, looking at the ETH chart, last time we found ourselves in a similar price range to this, all the way down here back in October of 2023, Ethereum ripped towards the upside around 153%. Now, I know you're thinking that that's not much, but this is a pretty stable, pretty reliable coin to be able to invest in my personal opinion. Obviously, go away and do your own research. This is not financial advice. But with 153%, if we use a little bit of leverage, we can make the most of the potential upside that ETH has without having to face too much downside risk, because ETH has already sold off pretty hard. I'm going to tell you later on how to set up the trade for this. Now, what I want to do, first of all, is draw a box along here to show you that ETH is usually pretty strong in this area. As you can see, ETH has come back down below here and is starting to push higher. Now, if we go and look at another chart, which is very important, the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, then we can see something very telling. As Bitcoin is starting to pick up towards the upside right now, you can see the ETH BTC chart continues to fall. And that doesn't mean that Ethereum is going down, it just means Bitcoin is going up faster than ETH. Something that usually happens at the start of a bull market. Now, I know we've had several cycles recently over the last few years where we've seen kind of peaks and troughs across crypto. And I think this has led us into a false sense of confidence with certain altcoins out there. And it's made us think that ETH isn't really worth it, because ETH has really kind of underperformed against other alts. But we are yet to see a major bull market phase of crypto starting to emerge. And I think when it does, we're going to see the traditional move of Bitcoin first, followed by Ethereum, followed by large caps, followed by smaller cap altcoins. The path to altcoin season is going to take place this time, and if we can catch ETH at the right time, which I think is now, then we have a good opportunity ahead of us. So what do we know about ETH versus BTC? Is it anywhere close to a bottom? If you look at this chart, we are at basically similar prices to what ETH saw against Bitcoin back in 2019 and 2020. And if we look at what ETH did from January 2020, it's going to tell us something very obvious. Because this is January 2020 for Ethereum, you can see that we have a spike down towards the bottom, but around this time, Ethereum was worth around $141. This was the COVID dip towards the downside, which obviously shook out a lot of people. But if you look at what ETH did following on from that, we saw a pretty good bull market indeed, and that was around a 29x. Now, I don't think the ETH is going to do a 29x in this bull market because it's already pretty damn big. Every time you're considering whether or not you're going to get multiple X's, think about how big it is and how much money you need to have that happen. That would make Ethereum significantly bigger than Bitcoin, and that's just not going to happen in my opinion. But if we assume that ETH is probably bottomed out in this area, then we have a decent entry point here. How do I know it's a decent entry? Well, back towards those highs that we saw back in December. And there's a very good chance that once the bull market starts to continue on, which is happening right now, that ETH makes it back at least to these highs and probably significantly beyond. In my opinion, ETH is going to around $9,000 to $12,000 during this bull market just because of the growth of the overall ecosystem. Then you can see that we have a good bet here, because down towards the downside is less than 20% pretty much to be able to find a stop loss. So we could put a trade in here with our stop loss underneath these lows that ETH hasn't seen for years, with a potential upside that is significantly bigger. And how much bigger are we talking? Well, if we have our stop loss down under here somewhere, you could say that that is pretty much a 9x on the risk. So for example, if I was to risk, let's say $1,000, I could make $9,000 profit on this trade. I could risk $1,000 to make $9,000. I hope that makes sense. Obviously, don't risk $1,000 if you don't have $1,000. Definitely don't risk $1,000 if you only have $1,000 or $5,000. Okay, we're not talking about risking our entire portfolios here. We're talking about risking a small percentage of our portfolio to be able to make a fairly solid return on what is basically one of the safest coins around, in my opinion. So if I was to go long here, risking $100 to make $900, the chances of it hitting down here are probably far less likely, in my opinion, than it hitting up here. Okay, so this is a pretty safe trade as far as I'm concerned, but obviously that's why we use stop losses, because you can still lose trades. And I'll talk about my trade later on, once we've just discussed more strength, more reasons behind why ETH is a good call. Now, if you're enjoying the content so far, make sure you've hit the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe. But also go and give me a follow over on X. This is my new X account after I got hacked a few months ago. Peter_THOC. Make sure it's got the blue check mark so you don't get any scammers in there. You're going to understand a lot more details about what I'm talking about in this video. And it's going to be much more regular. Okay, so make sure you give me a follow over there if you want to understand more about what's going on. And in fact, one of the posts here has just alerted me to something very key. This is the liquidation levels on Bitcoin. Now, just quickly to understand something and why we might see a very fast move happening today even. When lots of people in crypto are going short with leverage positions, they will typically have their stop losses above recent highs. And if they're going long, they'll have stop losses down below. What the market makers like to do, and the market makers are people who are moving the price around between highs and lows to soak up the liquidity, is that they do just that. And right now, what we are likely to see, if Bitcoin does break above around 86k, is a lot of these short positions being liquidated. What that means is they are forced to take their sell position and turn it into a buy. And that means that we could see Bitcoin and other altcoins moving very, very quickly through these levels back up towards 90k, maybe beyond. Maybe by the time this video goes live, that could have already happened. And this is one reason why I'm very bullish right now. There is a lot of liquidity, literally billions of dollars stacked up here against Bitcoin. Market makers love to move against all that liquidity. Now I'm going to jump across quickly to intel.arkham.com, and I'm going to search for something which you should probably pay attention to. We're going to click on search for World Liberty Finance. Now, if you've not heard of them before, don't worry. All you need to know is this is the fund that belongs to Donald Trump. Pretty big deal, right? Donald Trump has been tweeting around recently various different coins and things that he's holding in World Liberty Finance. And you know as well as I do, as soon as we're ready to go, as soon as the bull market kicks on, Donald Trump is going to start talking more and more actively about crypto. He's going to start talking more and more actively about certain coins and things he's been buying. What's he been buying? Well, if we come down here, you can see all of the different transactions. But as you look across here, you can see within his assets, he's holding USDC, wrapped Bitcoin, and also Ethereum. He's holding $13 million worth of Ethereum. This is a pretty good indicator for me that Donald Trump, who's bringing and integrating crypto into kind of the future markets of the US, etc., could well be focusing towards Ethereum as being the option for the platform that it's all built on. Now, I know there's other ones out there like XRP and Cardano, and people are incredibly bullish on all these things, but Ethereum is still the biggest layer one out there. It's still the original. And if we go across to DeFi Llama, it's pretty telling that Ethereum is still the daddy, despite all of the fear and stuff that's been associated with crypto recently and Ethereum. ETH is still stacking up way ahead of everything else. Now, DeFi Llama is great because it allows you to see different chains and see the activity behind these chains. Don't just go and invest in chains that don't have any activity. This is very key, okay? As you can see right now, the TVL, or total value locked for ETH, is $45 billion. It's pretty big. And in fact, it's significantly higher than it was back in 2023 when the price of ETH was probably higher. As the TVL is kind of generally gone up, I know it's pulled back recently, but generally gone up, it's gone up higher and higher each time, showing that there's more and more value being stored on chain, while the price of ETH doesn't always reflect that. But guess what? As soon as the markets pump, the price will kind of restore back to levels seen before and beyond. Now we can see down below a lot of the projects building on ETH are having some pretty good strong times. You can see Aave is up nearly 7% on the week in terms of TVL. Aave has $15.5 billion locked up in it. All of these projects down here, billions and billions of dollars locked on them, and they are all going up in terms of TVL in the last few days. Look, BlackRock is built on Ethereum. You can see here up 26% on the last 7 days. This is all indicating to me that ETH is a very strong project and probably going to have a pretty good time ahead of it. This is important. Don't just go and ape into trades on meme coins and whatever else. We're looking for trades that give us very, very good upside potential versus very, very limited downside runs so that we can place leverage trades, risking a small amount of money to be able to potentially make a large amount of money on a coin that's strong fundamentally. So what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to jump across to WEEX to place a trade. Now, I personally trade on multiple different exchanges. Yesterday, I placed trades on Bitunix, and I will talk to you about those later on this week. If you're subscribed, obviously, to catch those. I put a long in on Sui and Aptos. They're sort of slightly down right now, but I do think that they're going to pick up. We still have a good, healthy barrier here. Now, I use WEEX as well as Bitunix and some other exchanges that I'll introduce to you over time because they have the lowest fees, they have no KYC, and they have a huge range of different altcoins. They're also very easy to use once you've been using them a while, so make sure you sign up for them down below. You'll also qualify for a really cool deposit bonus by using that down below. Now, what do we need to know? We've already placed it here, right? ETH, I want to put my stop loss somewhere under this zone because in my opinion, there's a very slim chance, always a chance, but a very slim chance that ETH gets down towards this level. What's it at? It's at like $1,347. The ETH price at the time of making this video is 1,630. If ETH booms towards the upside and you suddenly turn on this video and it's up here, maybe this trade isn't good for you. Just be patient and we'll have another trade another day. Okay, but don't just ape into trades without thinking about what I'm talking about here. Okay, horizontal line, let's just draw them on here so you can see them nice and clearly. And we're going to run it up to the top. I do think ETH goes higher, but we kind of maybe want to run out of the trade by around this time. So $1,341 is the stop loss on ETH. Now, in terms of drawdown, what does that look like? That is a drawdown of under 20%. So if I was to use $1,000 with 5x leverage, that would be giving me like $5,000 of buying power on this level. It means that if it gets down here, I lose $1,000. It means that if it goes up here, then basically we have to times $5,000 by 149%, which is effectively $7,500. So in this case, I'm risking $1,000 to make $7,500. Now, you want to basically work this out on the amount of money that you're using to trade. If you're holding crypto, good. Keep it in spot, okay? If you've got like $1,000 in crypto on spot trading, like you're just holding Bitcoin and Ethereum, great, okay? Don't risk much doing this at all, okay? But if you have a spare 50 bucks or whatever, try it out. Understand a little more how this works. I promise you, trading on leverage is risky, okay? We know that. If it comes down here and I'm holding Ethereum, then I'm fine. I'm still in the game. But if it comes down here, it will liquidate my position and then I'm going to lose my money. Okay, so use like 5 to 10% of your overall crypto holding only to put into things like this. Okay, and within that, let's say you've got $1,000 within your futures account, maybe only use 10% or 20% of that. Okay, I'm just going to use $1,000 for this example to keep things very simple. Jumping across to WEEX, which is obviously not what I've just told you because it's got $3,900 in here, but I obviously have money in other areas. But we're going to risk $1,000 and we want to use 5x leverage because if it comes down, I'm not going to get liquidated. I'm going to hit my stop loss. Okay, I'm going to hit confirm. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to limit and I want to open my price around 16.26, which is where we're at right now. 16.26. So as you can see, by scrolling this up, we can see the cost changing here. I'm just going to move it until the cost says somewhere close enough to around $1,000. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put long, take profit, and stop loss. Okay, this is key. I make sure that this is in before I open my trade so that I don't forget it, or if the market moves quickly, I'm okay. 1.341, okay, or 1,341 is my stop loss. 1,341. And then my take profit, as you can see up here, will be what? $4,052. $4,052. Take profit will be $4,052. So you can see, as we said, we make around $7,600 for the risk of a little bit less. In fact, we can maybe go for a little bit more because you can see we're not quite risking our $1,000 just to make it kind of solid here. And then we can potentially make $8,400 for our $1,000. This is the beauty of having a very short stop loss, and it's not always easy to do, but we have a very short stop loss, a very key zone, and a very long take profit. Obviously, as markets move up, there's certain areas of resistance. We can maybe chip away some of our take profit here. Once we get up to these levels, maybe we bring our stop loss up to break even, but we'll talk about that in future videos. Okay, as soon as that's happened, now I'm just going to click on open long. I'm going to click on confirm after checking all the details, and we're all good to go. Now you can see it's not open yet, but it's just going to be in open orders until the price of Ethereum moves into that zone. If Ethereum never gets in that zone, this never opens, but I'm pretty confident it's going to move around a little bit. We're going to find this trade opening up. Guys, hopefully that was a useful and interesting introduction. I urge you to go and understand a little bit more about what I've been talking about and charts, etc., before even considering going and trading. I also say to you that trading is not an easy game. This might seem very easy in terms of setup, but the mind games it can play on you can be a bit crazy. Okay, so be very cautious. Always, always, always use a stop loss. Don't go and risk more than 10% of your overall crypto holdings. And make sure it's money that you can afford to lose. Money that you're okay with not seeing tomorrow. Money that you might take to a casino, for example. Okay, that's incredibly important. And if you are going to be trading, use lower leverage and make sure that you're not going to get massively wiped out. Don't go and place 100x leverage. Good chance you get wiped out within an instant. Trust me, I've done it before. You don't want to be that guy. So hopefully that's been useful for you. Hopefully you've understood more of what I've talked about. Guys, please give me a follow on the School of Crypto. It's a new channel. Need your help getting it going. Please go and follow me across over on Twitter. Again, I got wiped out recently. I got hacked. I lost my account, which had around 70,000 followers. Been pretty painful. Try and build it back up. Really need your support here. And if you want to learn more about what's going on in crypto day to day, also subscribe to my main channel, the House of Crypto. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.